here, folks. The plan here, I think we're gonna try to finish chapter 6, and that'll be probably the last thing we'll do before final exam time. There's 4 sections in this. We'll try to do, 2 today, and then finish the rest of it after Thanksgiving break, and then just kind of coast into the final probably. Seems like about the right. I think there's like 5 class days or something until we get to the I don't know. I counted at one point. There's not many class days left. So in chapter 6, the title is called Creating a Worksheet. That doesn't mean like a homework assignment. Basically, it's like a financial report, like a type of financial report. Where's my picture? There we go. No. Wrong way. Okay. Now, as we kind of seen when we've done our reports on these financial frauds or these financial crimes that we talked about here, one of the consistent lessons you guys talked about, probably almost every one of your presentations, was the need for consistent reporting, right? That you weren't getting. Can you put your phone away?
Yes.
Thank you. That we weren't getting, or the businesses that were being defrauded or manipulated, or the customers or whoever it wasn't getting a clear picture of what was actually going on on the inside of the business, because for a variety of reasons, but one of them was consistently reporting, that you weren't getting the financial information provided to you as an investor or as a business partner in a consistent, truthful manner. And that's kind of what we're going to be beginning to talk about here. So when we talk about consistent reporting, it's just using the same accounting procedure, the same way for the same accounting period. So when we talk about an accounting period, oftentimes what we mean is like a fiscal period. And that's just like a duration of time that your report is kind of generated for. So when we talk about a full 12 months worth of information in your report, we call that a fiscal year. Not necessarily January 1st to December 31st, but it could be, like October 15th to, October 14th next year. It doesn't have to be like calendar year. It's just 12 months of financial data. I think oftentimes companies report their fiscal earnings around tax time in April, because you have to prepare the same kinds of documents or pull together the same sorts of information to do your taxes that you would to issue a report like this. So when we use like a column, and I'll show you a picture here in a minute, to kind of summarize the general ledger information, that kind of report is called a worksheet. So basically what we're going to be doing is we're going to take have like each account that we have a ledger account for, we're going to record its, debits and credits total for that ledger account, list them all, total them all up, and make sure that debits equal credits, because you can't see that inside of a single ledger account, right? In addition to like making sure that the accounting is done correctly, these worksheets can also give you a picture of like how much profit or loss your business has had for the year or for the time period in which you're writing your worksheet for. So the first thing you do is you make a heading for your worksheet. So again, our example business has been this Delgado Web Services, and you title it worksheet then, and you say for the month ended, and then it's January 31st, 2000, whatever is our example month. So name of the company, name of the report, and date of the report are the three things that you need on your title. Feels like that's going to be something you'll fill out on the homework, right? So an example of a worksheet that's completed, you see at the top we have the Delgado Web Services worksheet for month ended January 31st, 2000, whatever. Now the column, or each row, the account titles, are each of the accounts in our general ledger, right? So we have a ledger account for cash and for petty cash and for accounts receivable, for Main Street service, et cetera, et cetera. So what we've done is we've recorded the debit and credit for that specific account. Now, unsurprisingly, a lot of these accounts don't have both debits and credits, right? Like for example, like supplies is only credit or a debit in there because you're just bringing supplies in, but you're paying for the supplies with cash. The credit is coming into a different account, right? And that would be hidden to you whether or not those are balanced if you're looking at just one account in a general ledger. It's really difficult to see if your general ledger is balanced. So the advantage of building a report like this is that you're able to total up then your debits and credits to make sure that everything is still in balance. I'd also point out to you that we have some accounts that have no transactions taking place, have no debits or credits, right? Income summary, insurance expense, both have no debit or credit listed. They're just a blank row. That's fine. That just means that nothing occurred with those accounts for the time period in which the report is covering. That's fine. That can happen. We still write them down because they're an account in our ledger, and if nothing happened, that's fine. Just be blank. Does everybody feel okay about how we kind of filled this in? So again, we give the account title for every account that we have in our general ledger. That's what we did here. Then we use the general ledger to write the debit account balances in the debit column and write the credit balances in the credit column. So that's what we've done in those two columns. Again, those numbers just came from the general ledger. Then we write a single rule line across the two trial balance columns. So that's this line right there. So you just draw that hard line that lets you know that there's no more accounts to write in. We finished writing in all our accounts and we're ready to start totaling things up. Then you go ahead and total both those columns for credit and debit up and write the totals. And then you write that total below the single line that you just wrote. And then you write a double line across the bottom to indicate that you're done. That's like, this worksheet is now finished. We've completed it. We did everything we needed to. It's ended. That's how you know you finished the sheet. Is everybody okay? Because you can imagine if it's a large business, it's quite complicated. This may take multiple days to pull the documents together and record all these account titles and audit each one of these accounts and get the total for the account. It could be a lengthy process you may work on for more than one day, or more than one person might be working on that. You need some kind of indicator that says this sheet is now finished, we've completed it. especially if more than one person is working on it. Is everybody okay with kind of filling this piece out? Fairly easy, right? Basically, we're just transferring all the information in the ledger into one place so that we can check for balance in our accounting equation. All right, so the 3-line heading on a worksheet, what are the 3 things it includes? Date, title, so name of the business, and was the type of report. So in our case, it was worksheet. So the business name, name of the report, and date of the report. So far the only report we've talked about how to make is a worksheet, but that's fine. What general ledger accounts are listed in the trial balance columns of the worksheet? Well, those aren't account titles though, right? Yes, we do have a column for those, but what goes in the account titles? Just every account in our ledger, whether there's any transactions in it or not, right? So all the ledger accounts are listed in the trial balance columns, even if the accounts don't have any business. So if there is no credit or debit issued to that account during the time period, it doesn't matter, still write it down. Everybody cool there? I'm gonna buzz through the 6.2 PowerPoint right now also, and then we'll do the 6.1 and 6.2 work togethers and then be off with you guys. Does that feel okay? Feels easier than since these aren't so long and they're so related, to just kind of flow one into the other and then take a break and do the work for them. Now on occasion, you do a worksheet and realize that, shoot, I needed to, somebody forgot to record something in the ledger and I have to make an adjustment to this worksheet, right? Oops, something came in late, there's a receipt that was lost and wasn't accounted for. Somebody was tardy in doing their individual account maintenance, and they realized that you look back a day later and it's oh no, this actually changed and somebody backdated something and put it in later, and now I have to make some adjustment or something. So we're going to be talking about how to do that for some specific situations here. So specifically, we're going to talk about making adjustments to our worksheet. Sure. For supplies and prepaid insurance. So these, as you might guess, are things that would be relatively common for a transaction to get lost or something to come in backdated, right? If you're buying a lot of supplies, it's a lot of things to record. Some of the things might not get recorded because they were invoiced, or in the insurance situation, maybe you're paying your insurance and you end up overpaying and getting money back, or you make an insurance claim and money comes in via the claim. So these are things that I think commonly get adjustments, and we'll show how to notate that on top of our worksheet. Okay. So a little bit more about these adjustments. So cash paid for an expense in one fiscal period that is not used until later fiscal period is called a prepaid expense. An example of that might be you decide you've moved your business into a new location and you're going to be renting. Oftentimes you have to pay rent up front. You have to pay 3 months in advance of to secure a location if you're renting or something. That would be an example of a prepaid expense where you're paying for future rent, rent for January, February, and March, but you did it in December. Does that feel okay there? Or maybe you pay for your insurance policy for the entire year, all up front in one lump sum. Like I paid in January for insurance for February, March, April, May, June, but for the entire calendar year, I just paid it up front in one lump sum because oftentimes you get a discount if you do that. So those are examples of like a prepaid expense where it's easy to see, okay, I get what you're saying there. So when the generally accepted practice is that we report income when it's earned and expenses when they are incurred. That's called the accrual basis of accounting. And then your best principles at GAAP, which is like the internationally agreed upon, like this is the way we do accounting, requires the use of that. So even if somebody is paying you for something in the future, paying you a bill for, January, but they paid it in February or paid it in December, you record it in December. Or if they paid you late for January, in February, you have to record that income in February. The same kind of thing for an expense. If you pay the expense for, December in November, it goes down as a November expense, not a December expense. Reporting income when cash is received and expenses when cash is paid is called the cash basis of accounting. And changes recorded to a worksheet to update general ledger accounts at the end of a fiscal period are called adjustments. And that's what we're going to be talking about for the rest of the slides, is kind of how to make those adjustments. So let's take a look at our supplies. Let's say that on our worksheet, the January 31st balance for supplies was $620. But we realized that later on we had some credit coming in of $530 that wasn't accounted for or was put in the wrong place. And it's like, oh no, that shouldn't be in this month, it should be in the next month's. So you show the adjustment and then you update the account balance. So everybody kind of see what happened here. We'll show you on the worksheet how to do that, but that's basically, these are those old T-charts that we talked about, I don't know, in chapter 2 or 3. So if we go back and look at our worksheet, we have supplies, and we realize that we had a supply expense that was recorded in the supplies. So we need to take that supply expense out of the supplies account, so it becomes credited to the supply account, and put it into the supply expense account, so it becomes a debit there. When we do that as an adjustment, like something was recorded in the wrong place like this, we use that little A to indicate that it is an adjustment that's occurring after the fact. So we wrote in the debit where it should have gone. We put the credit in the account where it wasn't, where we're taking it from. And then we label that we made an adjustment, this small letter A. Is that okay? So basically in this adjustment, we just moved a debit from one account to another account. And you could see how easily it would be if you have account supply and supplies expense. to end up filing something, recording something in the wrong ledger, and then finding later on that, like, oh no, the person in charge of the supplies account is like, hey, this isn't my bill. Why is this recorded on my, to my budget? I didn't buy this. So another example is an insurance adjustment. So in this case, you got like $150 discount from the insurance company. So they're giving you $150 back. You prepaid $900, and maybe because you didn't make any claims or something, they've credited you back some amount of money. I guess this is still, again, it's a whatever. So again, we record the debit into where the new account where it should live. We put a credit where we're moving the money from, and we use now the letter B as this is our second adjustment. We're going alphabetically, indicating the number or the sequence of adjustments. So our second adjustment is B. Our third adjustment we'll label as C. Oh my gosh, you guys. So good. So after we've done, we need to do our proving. So what we do is we add a single rule below the adjustments column. And then we add the adjustment credit and debit columns. We write the totals and then put the double lines below the adjustments column. Yes? Sure, yeah, no problem. Okay, so it's the same procedure as before, but you're only looking at the adjustments column now. So, explain how the concept of matching expenses with revenue relates to adjustments. So we say that expenses should be reported in the same fiscal period that it's used to produce the revenue, right? So that you're balancing. That's the cash in, cash out kind of idea. The 4 questions asked in analyzing an adjustment to a worksheet. What is the balance of the account to be adjusted? What should the balance for this account be? So should it get, are we taking things out or putting things in? What must be done to correct the balance? So again, is there too much or too little in there? So if there's too much, we have to take some out. If there's too little, we have to put some in. And then what is the adjustment that needs to be made? So, okay, I need to credit this account and debit this other one. All right, let's fire up our Mind Tap here and do some of the examples. It wants to load. Uh-oh. Phew. So chapter 6. 6.1, work together. Let's roll. All right. On April 30th of the current year, Fix It Now is ready to prepare the worksheet. The business uses a monthly fiscal period. The first step in preparing a worksheet is the heading. Fill in the blanks for each row of the worksheet. Heading for Fix It Now for the month of April of the current year. Enter the current year as 20 dash. Do not abbreviate the month. Okay, so let's do that. So the first part of our title should be the business name, right? So this is Fix It Now. And the second line should be the name of the report. The report we're writing is a worksheet. I feel like I missed it. And then the date. So how do we say this? I don't think we write. No, we don't do it that way. We say for the month ending.
For month ended.
For month ended, that's it.
April 30th.
Yeah, there it is. Thank you, guys. Okay, and if we wanted to check, that all looks good. All right. Part 2 says on April 30th of the current year, Fix It Now has the general ledger accounts and balances shown in question assets. Prepare the trial balance on a worksheet, total the columns. Okay? So all I'm going to do, they've already recorded the account titles for us, so I just need to record in here the credits and debits. Just reading off the sheet, and they very conveniently listed these in the order that we put them on the worksheet. So nice. Just gotta make sure I type these in correctly. Prepaid insurance is where I'm at. Accounts payable, 267. 7,433. Yikes. Oh, that's the owner. Never mind. That's not so surprising then. Drawing. Income summary had nothing in it. Sales, 2160. Advertising, 460. Cash short and over, $6. Nothing for insurance expense. 189 for miscellaneous. No supplies expense. And then 550 for our utilities. And then I'm hearing you guys discuss what these totals at the bottom are. Who's added this up for us? 9870. And then the credit should be the same. Perfect. And check. Woo! Got it. Everybody feel good? So if we hit submit. Yay! So much fun. All right, let's go back and do the 6-2 work together. You guys will do the on your owns and application problems for these, but let's run through at least the work togethers together so that if there's any questions about how to do any of this, we do it together, you know. All right, it says, on April 30th of the current year, Fix It Now has completed the trial balance columns of the worksheet, analyzed the adjustment information given here into debit and credit parts. Record the adjustments on the worksheet, total the adjustments column. If no mark is needed, leave it blank, blah, 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 blah. Okay. So our adjustment should be supplies on hand, $75. Okay. So what we're going to do is that's going to be an adjustment to the supplies and supplies expense. We'll credit supplies $75 and we'll debit the supplies expense $75. And these are going to get the A's there. And then value of prepaid insurance. So again, I think that's a credit to prepaid insurance and a debit to the insurance expense. And this is our second adjustment. So we use the B. Fingers crossed that we did this. It says the numbers are wrong.
Oh, is it? Are they being adjusted by that amount?
Oh, it's because I put them in the wrong spot. Look at me, dum-dums. Look, I put it in the miscellaneous expense here. Well, that's that. That should take care of that guy. E. And then 250 needs to go there.
Still like the 75 and 250 are wrong.
The 75 and 250 are wrong.
Just the places.
Okay.
Yeah, they're the adjustment amount. So it's the initial minus with this adjustment is the new credit.
Oh. So you're saying that this should be the 125 then?
Yeah.
So the 375 minus the 250, and then we're in the 228 minus the 75. So that's 153. Okay. And then if we add down, so that's 325 on that one, and that's 278. If I add down,
Wouldn't that be the same?
I mean, I thought they were supposed to be, but oh, these are oh, well, that makes sense then. It's like, what did I do? Because I didn't adjust these ones. There we go. Yes, they should be the same. I was like, why wouldn't they be the same? I see the phrasing that they gave us now. It was what I get for not trying the problem beforehand.
Always subtract it. Always subtract it.
Yeah.
So here's why we subtracted. What's up? Still says they're wrong. Oh, that's because I didn't add it correctly.
You also put on the credit, you put 125 twice.
You just flip your B and A.
Oh, I have them in the wrong spot. I see. Okay. Boy, oh boy, not a good day for the big guy here.
All good.
You know? Makes me feel like a real dope. Yeesh. All right. Okay. So my issue was the phrasing here was I found confusing. So what this is saying, the supplies on hand should be $75. So this number is supposed to be 75. So I need to take away 153 so that there's 75 left here. So that, you get what I'm saying? So this is saying the prepaid insurance is really only 250. So I have to take away from this to get 250. Does that make sense?
I didn't want to put it in credit versus debit.
Well, because we're taking it away to get to that total over here, it's got to be a credit. And if we did credit over here, it's got to be debit to the other piece. Does that make sense? And I think that was all we needed to do, right? No. Does that feel okay, folks? Stumbled our way through that one a little inelegantly, but it's a nice opportunity for us to see Mr. Kulik take some a minute to figure out what's going on here too, right? Like,
Yeah, sure. Here it doesn't.
okay. So the remaining half hour or so, you guys should work on the 6-1 on your own, 6-2 on your own, 6-1 application, 6-2 application. Or if you're still catching up on other stuff from further back, if you want to work on the other stuff that you might have still to catch up on, you could do that too. Either is okay, but you should be doing something. Okie dokes. Cool.
Sam, do you know two totals? Just one or two?
I can take my test tomorrow after school.
Perfect. That's excellent. Thank you for checking. Yeah. Sure. Is it math or accounting?
Math.
I can prepare myself.
It confuses me every time. You can tell when he's
And you don't have that. Works for this.
We're too good of a team.
There's lots of ways to approach this. I just don't want to do it the way this like.
Like, our whole team is like, not necessarily
That's right, but I don't
The Michigan Center's defense was.
Yeah.
Which is fine, like, if you don't worry
Well,
about
it's not
it.
good. Their O-line, their defense.
And things are not built in necessarily. Okay, that's fine.
They're just like associated.
I know.
They get run by.
And he doesn't throw much.
Yeah, they did. There's like a 7-yard touchdown. There's no guys. I see that on the team. It's just
I feel like they're gonna talk. Like last fight against Frankenmuth and against even Charleston one here, talking about the best players, like they're all like when we're playing a really good team.
Yeah, he said they're
He's like he doesn't talk about
So,
when we're playing a bad
Who do
team.
you
Talks
use
about
one of these things,
Jordan.
they have like 3D, or they have change, right? Like things that are different about the graph.
I think
So there's a
That
you
needs
think the play's over, but man, he just he's too deep.
That's the one that makes sense.
It was magic.
King James was a
What was the total for the? What was the total for the session one?
over.
23,762.
But if you hold this, isn't that line?
highlights the graph.